So by now we know that AI is just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger throughout the next few years, and luckily for us, we are getting into the space rather early compared to the people that are going to be getting into it by 2029 or by 2030. Well, today what I have done for you is I've taken two of my passions, which is Microsoft Excel and AI, and I've put them together for one video. I previously posted an AI video on Excel a few months ago, and I had some comments asking me to do more AI Excel related videos. So today that is exactly what I have done for you. It's going to be a little bit more complex, and it's going to be more of an actual specific use case. What I've done is I grabbed a Gantt chart for project completions, and I was able to create a AI reminder system that's going to send out a Slack notification. Of course, you could be connecting this to whatever you'd like. You could be connecting it to Microsoft Teams, even Discord, or whatever kind of communicative platform that a company would use. But for the purpose of this video, I figured I'd just use Slack. And so this was pretty complex to build, very fun to build, and I figured I'd just make a video on this to show you guys exactly how to do it and how it looks. So if you're new to the channel, my name's Elliot. I do AI chatbots, Excel AI related videos, just everything to keep you up to speed on AI. I'm also the CEO and founder of ManyFlow AI, which is my own AI agency, where we build these types of solutions and automations for businesses. So just check out my description, I'll have everything in there about that. And without further ado, let's jump into the tutorial. So this is what the spreadsheet looks like. Essentially, this is a Gantt chart. You can just, when you open up Excel, you go to templates and it'll be like the second or third one. All I did was just kind of do some minor adjustments. I condensed everything into one table here. I changed up the data bar colors, and we're going to be ignoring all of this. This is essentially just conditional formatting that is projecting the project length. For example, here, if we change some dates on, for this one, 45%, if we change this to like the 9th, see how it just goes more to the right. So we're not going to be focusing on any of that. That is just, I guess, to make the spreadsheet look nice. We're going to be solely focused on sending reminders via Slack from this page. So essentially, we have these names, their progress, and the start date and the end date. So what I want to do, what I want to build is have, whenever they're close to that deadline, I want them to get reminded. So for this one, 20%, this was actually due 3 days ago. Today's the 4th. So there should be a reminder saying, hey, you're at 20%. What's going on? You haven't completed this. So this is essentially for like a project manager overlooking this project, reminding people instead of manually sending out a message telling them what they have to do. It's going to be completely automated by AI. So the first thing I'm going to do is add some conditional formatting here just to kind of visualize and see which people have actually missed their deadline or are close to the deadline, or maybe if it's due today. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually highlight this data here, and once this is all highlighted, I'm going to go to conditional formatting. I'm going to click on new rule, use a formula to determine which cells to format. So we're going to use equals and. If you're not familiar with the and function, essentially it's having two conditions that have to be true at the same time. It's different than or. The or function is essentially either this has to be true or this has to be true. The and means they both have to be true. So I'm going to do equals and. I'm going to select this cell here. I'm going to remove this $sign to ensure that it can go down, it can drag down, not just select that first cell. And it's going to be this greater than or less than 1. So, it's not at 100%. If it's less than 100%, that first one has to be true. And the second condition has to be if this cell here, remove this as well, equals today, close that, and then -1, close that as well. Click on OK. Let's actually add a format here. So this is if it's past due. Click on OK, and click Apply. And we can see that this one is past due by 1 day. So I'm only going to do just 1 day. I'm not going to do 2 or 3. Like, for example, this was due 3 days ago, and it's at 90. So we'll just do, for the purpose of this video, we'll just do 1. Now I'm going to duplicate this rule. I'm going to do it twice. All I'm going to change here is add a plus here. So that's there's 1 more day for it to be completed. Make that maybe on like a bluish color. Click OK, apply. That's this one. This is due tomorrow. And then our next one is going to be if it's just simply due on today. And then we'll probably make that green. Click OK and apply. Sweet. So these are the two out of this entire set of data. These are the 3 people who are going to need to be reminded. This guy's at 45%. This one's 10%, and I'm at 50%. I actually have my name on here as well. So he's past due, or she, I'm not sure. She is due today, and I am due tomorrow. So now what I want to do is make on a separate sheet, I'm going to filter out this data set on the ones that need to be reminded. So I go to sheet 2, I have a box here, and I have exactly 20 cells just because here there are actually 20 people. So just to make things easier. So I'm going to filter that set, and then I'm going to go to the next step after that, which is going to be sending that data to make.com to create the reminding system. So we're going to do equals filter here. We're going to grab this data here. We're going to filter all of this. And then our include argument, we're going to open up 2 parentheses here because we're going to be using wildcards. So I'll show you that in just a sec here. I'm going to grab this data because what we're doing essentially is filtering out all the past due, the due today, and the ones that are due tomorrow. So we're going to start with the one that's past due. So I'm going to do that data equals today, and then we'll do -1. So if that's past due, and then we're going to close that and add a plus sign. So you're probably wondering, why is there a plus sign? We're not summing any numbers. Well, the plus essentially works as an OR function, and then the asterisk works as an AND function. So we want to do a plus because we're either doing due today, past due tomorrow, past due, due tomorrow, due today. We're doing either one of those, and then you'll see we'll use the asterisks because they all have to be less than 1. They all have to be less than 100%. So let's continue here, plus add more data equals, this one we'll just make it due today. Close that, and then we'll add another plus, open up a parentheses, and do the last one here, equals today, and then close that, +1, close that, and then now we add the asterisks, open up parentheses, and that's going to be this data here. Oops. Grab this data here, and that is going to be less than 1. Close that, and close this parentheses, and click enter. And there we go. Now we have filtered exactly the names that have not completed their project at 100% and that are either past due or getting close to that deadline. So we can just test out the formula here. If I do 100, that means that is no longer going to be in our table here. Sweet. So I'm just going to change this back to 45. And we're going to do one more formula here. This is the route. This is going to be used for make.com just to kind of have make know where to send the data. I'm going to be using routers. I'm going to get into that in just a sec here after I show you the VBA code of this. But I'm going to add a nested if function here just so I know which ones are due today, which ones are past due, etc. So we'll do equals if. We're going to grab our logical test is going to be this. If this equals today, and then -1. That is our first logical test. If that's true, I want it to say past due. That is our first condition here. Second one, or that's our first logical test. Our second test is going to be another if statement here. If this equals today, close that. And then value if true is going to be due today. And then we're going to do one more, just if this equals today +1, oops, today +1, then our value if true is going to be due tomorrow. Then I'll close that. And then our value if false, I'll probably end up with just 2 blanks here. And I'll close everything. Okay, past due. I'm going to drag this down. And it completely messed up my formatting. Let me just fix that very quickly here. And let's just reselect everything. Sweet. So these are all blank because there's no data here. But let's check this out. So today is the 4th of December. So this is past due. This was yesterday. This is due today. And then this is due tomorrow. Sweet. So now we're actually going to get into the AI part of this. So the first thing you're going to want to do is have the developer tab open up here. If you don't have the developer tab, you're going to go to File, scroll down to Options, click on Customize Ribbon, and then you can put it on right here. If it's on Developer, you just check this little box and click OK. You will now have access to the Developer tab up here. So what I'm going to do is also set a button here to activate the code. But before I do that, let's just take a look at the code. So we go to Developer, Visual Basic, And then here, you're going to want to find your project and you want to insert a module. So this is the code that I have in the module. So to do that, you just kind of right click, click insert module, and we're going to paste in this code. It's kind of a tedious process with chat. It took us a good amount of time to work it out and make it work just the way I wanted to. But what I'll do is I'll break down the code just so you can kind of get a better understanding of what it is. Here we have sub, which stands for subroutine. Essentially, this is naming our macro. So when I assign it, you'll see it says send data to webhook. That is the name of the code, the name of the macro. All of these we're essentially declaring variables. So dim, JSON data as string, URL as string. We're just declaring variables. Here's probably the more important part here. We're sending this to make.com. This is our webhook. So this will be taken from our webhook module inside of make.com. We'll just copy it and insert it here. Here we're setting a worksheet as sheet 2 because we're grabbing the data from that little table we just did with the filter function. We're going to be sending that data to make.com, so that's why we're referencing sheet 2. Here is the actual array of that box from where the data is. And then here's a bunch of just JSON array things, because that's going to be kind of tough, was sending out Excel data in a nice JSON inside of the webhook. So there's a lot of just JSON formatting and creating objects and strings and things like that. This is checking if it's not blank. So this symbol here means not. It's the opposite of equal. So if it's not blank and it just takes a look at these columns. Here we're collecting more data. Scroll down to some more JSON array stuff. Here's a message box that says no valid data was sent. That is if we don't have any data to send out to make.com, we'll get this message block. Here we have a little thing that I added, which is now referencing sheet 1 instead of not sheet 2 this time, because I want B1 to be populated, telling me this was the last time you reminded someone, and it gives today's date, or it gives the date that was reminded. So this is to prevent people from getting reminded the same thing multiple times. If someone forgot the last time they reminded them, they click it, they have the date, oh, this was the last time I was reminded. Okay, now I can do it again on the next day. So that is just a little part of the code that does that on sheet 1. And this is essentially to remove special characters in the JSON to avoid any syntax errors. So that is kind of a breakdown of the code. I'm now going to apply this to a button, so you'll see how it works. I'm going to go to Insert, I'm going to go to Shapes, and we'll just use a rectangle. I'm going to draw it out over here, right click, and I'm going to click on Assign Macro. And this was what, as I mentioned, the subroutine send data to webhook. So that was essentially the name of the macro. Click on OK. And then inside here, I'm going to do send reminders. I'm going to just format this very quickly here. Make it a little bigger, maybe bold it, and maybe we just change this color here, or make it black, or I'll make it like a grayish, or make it dark grayish or something. It's not very dark. Let's go here and do that. Okay, so now when we click this button, we're going to see that right here, our B1 on sheet 1 is going to say sent reminders, last reminded on. Let's click it. Last reminded on 12/04/2024, and data has been sent successfully. So this means it was sent to my webhook. So let's go configure the make.com scenario right now and see the actual AI part of the video. This is what the make.com scenario looks like. It's pretty simple. Luckily, it's not anything crazy. I'm going to break it down though. We'll do a little bit of testing as well. So this was before the video I was running tests. So here's the entire build. I'm going to tweak a little bit the prompt because I did notice some prompting issues. So I'll do that in just a sec as well. But we're going to test the webhook first. So I'm going to click on unlink here. I'm going to simply just run the webhook first. I'm going to go back to Excel. I'm going to do send reminders. And so now we should see these 3 people show up in my webhook. So we'll click send reminders. Data has been sent successfully. Click on OK. Go back to make.com here. And we have our bundle, which is tasks 1, 2, and 3. These are the 3 people from our Excel sheet. And I don't really like how it's an array. So what I used is an iterator. So now let's connect this and we'll run it one more time. I'm going to disconnect this as well, just so you could see the actual iterator and how it works. So I'll click run once again, run anyway, wait for new data. Let's do it one more time, send reminders, click OK. And look at the difference now. See, we have actual bundles of this data, and it's just one collection rather than an array. So this is a lot easier to map out for sending out messages. So now we'll just connect everything here like that. And this is probably the most important part. So if we go back to Excel, we can see on sheet 2, I actually had a route here. So past due, due today, due tomorrow. This essentially is going to be working as filters in make.com. So if we go here, I have due tomorrow, due today, and past due. So if we click on the little filter button here, essentially I'm grabbing the route due tomorrow. If it equals to, and I hard code it due tomorrow, it goes to this specific area. If it's on due today, goes to this flow, and same thing for past due. So now I did keep this rather generic and simple. I don't actually use Slack myself. I just made like an account months ago when I was starting my agency, and I just never ended up using Slack. But I have like, I think 3 people in there. So I'm just going to use my name and send this to me. But when you create a message on Slack, you can pick who to send it to. You can also play around with, if we go to Slack here, you could create a, I believe, yeah, there's a whole bunch of options here. You can list people, you can get specific names, get a user, if you want to send it to someone specific from the spreadsheet. For me, I'm just going to send it to myself, so you'll see. So these are basically all just doing the same thing. But if I had more people, you'd see that it'd be sending out to maybe different channels or individual DMs. But these 3 blocks here are creating the message. So let's take a look at my prompt here. And it's a very basic prompt as well. I didn't go crazy on the prompt. But I said, your task is to create a professional message for Slack based off of the information provided. Context, your message is regarding a project the user has not yet completed that is either past due, due today, or due tomorrow. So essentially you're giving them a reminder. And then here what I'm going to add is, do not add a subject, and also do not add a signature. Keep it, let's say, keep the message short. And then here I have data, and I plugged in all of the variables as well. I have the name of the person who it's assigned to, the progress percentage, the due date. I put on today's date as well. I did now. You go to the calendar and you just use right here, the variable now, so it's built in. This is just in case the AI wants to say, this is today's date, you're past due, whatever. And then we have status, which is due tomorrow. So this is just to help give it more context on what it's going to be saying in the message. And then the completion tokens, we could probably lower that by like maybe 100. Click OK. And I do have to copy this in here, so I'll do that right now. I'll just copy what I just put in these prompts. Okay, so I just copied these, and then we'll just go to the Slack message, and we're doing direct message to my team. For this one, the result is the result of the OpenAI module, and I believe this one I might have changed it to my name, and then this one is also team. Sweet. Okay, so we'll run those 3 right now. We'll just click on run once. I'm going to open up Slack. This is my very outdated and small Slack account. I literally just have me, my personal email, and then my team, which is my business partner's email or something I think I have in there. So we'll just test it out. So we'll go to Excel. This is currently running, and then we'll see what is sent to team. So click on send reminders, click OK. Now we go to Slack, and this was the message that we just got from the team. Hi Nuria, just a quick reminder that develop charter task is currently overdue with progress 45%. Please let us know if you have any support to complete it. Thank you. And then here it's sent twice. Hi Olivia, this is just a reminder. But if we go to our direct message to maybe this one, this would have been one person I have to pay here. And this was yesterday. Here we go. Hi Elliot, just a reminder that the task to create the schedule is due tomorrow. It looks like you're at 50% completion. Let me know if you need any support to wrap things up on time. Cool, so that was how we put everything into Slack through Excel. If you don't use Slack and you could use anything, right? You could use the Microsoft Teams API, I believe, if it's in here. Yeah, so you could also do, create, you could update a channel, you could send a message, you could connect this to an email account. I find this to be just so insanely powerful for project managers, just spending so much time reminding people in the projects, asking questions, things like that. You can just have all that be done by AI through this exact automation. So that is the end of the video. I showed you exactly how to build an automation taken from Excel to send a reminder system to your team members inside of Slack. Of course, like I said, you can be creative. You can put this into Discord, Microsoft Teams, email, whatever platform you want. And I had a lot of fun building this type of solution. This is something I find to be insanely powerful and valuable for project managers overlooking a project, saving them hours of time simply just instead of writing all of those things manually. Because imagine you had hundreds of people or 50, 100, I don't know how many people on a project. Well, you can have that all automated directly with AI. So I really make these videos for you guys to just learn and build these kind of things for fun, and essentially, of course, sell these type of automations in your own AI agency to business owners. We also hit 50 something subscribers. I know that is an insanely low number to most people, but to me, that means I have 50 something people enjoying my videos and actually learning from it. So I appreciate you all for the support, and I hope that this video is something that you found helpful for you. Imagine being that one guy who is ahead of everybody and being like, okay, well, I can do Excel just as good as this guy, but I know how to put AI inside of it. So that will always boost you and be better than the next guy. So with that being said, guys, I will see you guys all in the next video.